Final Fantasy is going to be releasing soon, and you want to get ahead of the curve and build a winning pre-release deck at your LGS come this Friday. Well, I got 6 packs here, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do to build a winning pre-release deck. And it starts off really simple. You're going to go down in the description and check out Superscripts Comics and Games. They're letting us open a box for store stock. So if you see anything listed here that you want to pick up, be sure to grab them. Next step is to open your packs and just sort them out by color. Ain't that right? That's the next super easy step. So just red, we're just gonna run it. Absolutely not looking. You don't need to read what you get. Just put them in piles and go from there. Right? The reason why I do this is because I want to waste the least amount of time as possible. And I find by just putting them in piles and then going back to the biggest piles puts me in a direction of the highest probability of winning, because I'm wasting less time trying to figure out which cards I have, which combo better, and it's far easier to build a deck out of stuff that has a bunch of options than trying to force a deck out of few options. So you have a bunch of red cards and a bunch of green cards. Trying to build a white-blue deck just ain't possible sometimes. So this is why I do this. I don't want to waste time. Put them in piles. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. That is a black card. Hard to tell, honestly. Oh, this is the funnest part, honestly. All right. Now we got everything separated into piles. Clean things up. Clean things up. Get them nice. Get them nice. All right, cool. The next thing I like to do is take a look at my multicolored and land selections. I do that because mana fixing is one of the most important things inside of building a deck. If you don't have reliable mana, you're not going to be casting the big spells that you want to. So I like to take note of what I could possibly do. And right off the bat, we have Starting Town, which is a pay 1 life, add 1 color of any mana. So that's fixing right off the bat, which is nice. And you have Crossroad Village here, which allows you to put in something and pick a color. So that's also some nice fixing. Then we got 2 tapped lands, which is Boros and Golgari, with a white adventure land. So that's solid. Good. We're good there. Next up, multicolored. What kind of things can we do? And the thing that is blaring to me right now is the fact that we have 2 Boros cards. 2 Boros cards in hand. We have a Joshua, and we have a King of Dwarves, which tells me we can just build an aggressive deck. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at red and white. I think I put a mixture here. These are white cards in the wrong pile. Shame on me. Shame on me. I do like to take note of what we do have in this section. We do have 2 instant ramens, which gain some life and draws cards. We have 2 world maps, which allows you to sacrifice and search for a basic, which is kind of nice, so that is some fixing. And then we have Excalibur 2, which pumps things. And then we, Masamune. As long as equipped creature is attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked. Equipped creature has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability, it triggers an additional time. Okay, that's one of those cards. Airship, and then Blitzball, add 1 color of any mana. It's 3 mana, it's a little expensive, so I would try and stay away from running a mana dork or artifact like that. Sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards, activate only if an opponent was dealt damage by a legendary creature. The draw could be nice, so let's see what we can do in that department first. First colors we're going to be looking at is white, because we got Boros, and it just seems like the first logical step. We're going to look for multiples of a card inside of this stack. Right off the bat, I am seeing 2 Paladin's Arms, which I don't think are too crazy. That's going to be a 3/2 Ward 1 for 3 mana. That's okay. I mean, it's a 3/2 for 3. Not stellar. It's not what we want necessarily in that slot. White Mage's Staff +1, and whenever this creature attacks, you gain a life. That's pretty good, and it's also a 2/2 for 2. Very worth the money spend, or mana spend there. Dragonlance, +1/+0, Knight, and has flying, so it's a 2/1 flyer for 2 mana. Also, a solid mana spend right there. Other than that, we have Snow Villers as a double. Vigilance equals the number of creatures you control. I don't think there's a whole lot of token creation in Boros, so I think these would be pretty lackluster, especially if you're behind. So if you're behind, you spend 3 mana, and it's a 1/3. It's not as good as if you're ahead, right? So these are probably not, but they are a duplicate, so something that we can keep note of. Slash Light is a solid card. Damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipments you control to target creature. So if we're running a lot of these job selects, we have a 2 mana removal at instant speed to hit, 4 damage to something. That's a solid card to keep in mind. This Inspiration, I feel like, is a trap. 3 mana, attacking creatures get +2/+0. It would be a nice finisher, but it's only great if you're ahead. In the behind stages, 3 mana for this card. If you draw it, you're going to be pretty sad. 4 mana, create 3 1/1 colorless hero tokens, or tap up to 3 target creatures, put a stun counter on one of them. It's a savior, so you can either push yourself ahead or you can slow down your opponents. Very, very niche, and probably wouldn't play a whole lot of that card, but you could sideboard it in if you feel like the deck that you're playing against has a lot of ways to push ahead of you. White Mage, Vigilance, Lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each cleric you control. This would be the only cleric. No, White Mage's Staff, so you could combo these together. If you get a couple of these and then a 5 mana as your top end, boom, you're gaining life, putting +1/+1 counters on your job, select people, and all of that. Last card I really want to talk about is this Summon Knights of the Round. This is a finisher, and you should only run one of these. If you hit 2 of these, you're just really lucky in the first place, but this is an expensive card. 3 2/2 white creature tokens for 4 turns is also very crazy. You'll probably win if this hits board. Not only that, it's a 3/3 indestructible, so it's a great blocking tool. From white, those are the standout cards, honestly. These aren't too crazy, so I'm going to stack that back up here. These are the cards that I'm paying the most attention to. All right, we're going to be going over to red now, and we're going to be aiming for some primarily removal, in all honesty. Things that red is pretty good at. And I think the card, oh, there it is. 2 of them, Thunder Magic. Okay, back to back. Thunder Magic, 1 mana, 0. Deals 2 damage to target creature, and then it tears up from there. These are 2 solid cards, definitely running those. Haste Magic is also very solid. Pumping something up, and exile the top card of your library, and you may pay it until your next end step. So a pump and card advantage in one. Red Mage's Rapier. This is essentially kind of that wizard bird guy from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Gets +2/+0 until end of turn anytime you cast a non-creature spell. I'm sure the name will be popping up on screen because I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Coral Sword could be advantageous to flash in to save some creatures. It's also a good card of note. Item Shopkeeper. Whenever you attack target attacking equipped creature, that is a mouthful. Whenever you attack, target attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn. It's a 2/2 for 2. So base, 2 mana, 2/2, and they get a very solid use case for this card because we're running a lot of equipments. We're running a lot of cards to create job selects. So we're going to have creatures on the board that are going to have menace, and it's going to be advantageous because some of these are pretty small. 2/2s, stuff like that, that'll allow these creatures to swing in for a little bit extra damage. This Sabo Tender is eh. The landfall trigger is nice. 2 mana, 2/1 with reach, so you could block into some flyers. Not crazy, but not terrible. You can make some tokens with this guy, but I think this is more of a Rakdos card, so I'd probably lean towards Rakdos if you wanted to run this Elder. Those are the cards for note for Boros, not Rakdos. We were talking about Rakdos, but we're actually talking about Boros right now. And one of the biggest cards that we're probably going to see a lot of play in this deck is going to be King of Dwarves here. Because if we're running a lot of equipments, whenever equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So this is a 2 mana 1/1 double strike. Very solid card. And it allows you to cycle out some cards that you don't need. Like if you're mana flooded, you can pitch it, get this guy out, play your job select cards, get some card advantage as well. Good card to run. Joshua's fairly solid. It's 3 mana, 3/4. It allows you to discard 2 and draw up to that many cards. And if you really needed to, you could flip it. If you can get it on his back, it's pretty powerful. But base on the back is a 4/4 flying lifelink, which is pretty nice, but it's 5 mana to flip, which is pretty expensive for a draft setting, but could just be top end. In the between top end before you get to Summon Knight, or if you haven't hit White Mage, it's a nice way to buff it off your opponents with some additional lifelink and flying threats. And once I get to this point where I feel like I have a deck working to some degree, this is when I like to look at my other options. I like to take a moment, see if there's anything that I'm missing. Specifically, we could take a look at Black's Waltz here, which is a great way to take advantage of these 0/1 wizard tokens. So we have Circle of Power and this Elder right here that we could utilize for that. And then we also just have a bunch of equipments that could also just pop out and deal that additional damage. But if we don't have the support for it, then we don't have the support for it. And that's what we're going to look at now. So we have 1 copy of Circle of Power. Heck Dice is a 2 mana 1/1. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. For 2 mana, you're getting rid of a card inside of their hand, which by itself is pretty advantageous for you, especially in draft. So if you can get them to pitch a card for 2 mana, pretty solid. Retaliation, Final Days, a lot of sorceries, 4 mana, 6 mana, Malboro. Enters, each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and exiles the top 3 cards of their library. 4/4, it has swamp cycling, so if you had to, you could use swamp cycling for it. We have Summon Primal Odin. Destroy target creature an opponent controls for 6 mana right off the bat. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. That player loses the game. Okay. Draw 2 cards, each player loses 2 life. If you can get this through for 6 mana and make it to turn 2 with it as a 5/3, that's pretty good. But at 3 toughness, I feel like it's pretty reasonable to remove. So that feels like a risky play to me, and I wouldn't bet on it. It is the best way that I put it. Okay, Bloodsky Sire. It's going to be one of the reprints for the bonus sheet here. Death Touch, pay 2, target player searches their library for a card, then shuffles and puts that card on top. Cool. As Boast, could be pretty useful. Another Heck Dice, so that's a double. We have a Side Quest, 5 mana. Not too thrilled about these, honestly. They seem really expensive for the top end, and it just feels too risky for draft with a lot of these, personally. 2 of these Retaliations. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand and the rest at the bottom, or rest into your graveyard. A little bit of card advantage. We have Job Select here, +3/+0, and it's a Knights. And then one of the Black Mage's Rod. In all honesty, looking at this and seeing what Rakdos wants to do, we have a couple ways to make these 0/1 Black Wizards. We have Waltz, and we have Removal. But my initial thoughts here is it feels pretty creature light. So that is something that I probably wouldn't pursue. If I have to force creatures in that aren't going to be the ones that I want to play, like specifically this Malboro right here, I don't really want to pay that because it's 6 mana for a 4/4. At base, 6 mana 4/4, it just doesn't vibe. To me, at least. It does have a nice effect. Each opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, and exiles top 3 of the library. Cool, but again, 6 mana 4/4 at its worst. Summon Odin, meh. It, again, feels really risky. Could it work? Could you get to that turn 2, swing in and hit him? Yeah. But for now, my gut's telling me I'm going to stay away from Rakdos. Let's take a look at green. We have a Golgari land, so why not? And we also have Ryona here. We could pair these two over here. We have a pretty solid selection of white cards, so maybe we can build the Selesnya deck. Right off the rip, what do we have multiples of? That's what I care about the most. Consistency is key when you're building decks. And I don't think I see too many duplicates. I see Chocobo Kick here, which is a sorcery, which is not too, reassuring here. Oh my gosh, most of these are sorceries. Very few creatures. Wow. 1, 2, technically 3, 4. There is 4 creatures in this deck, which means we would be heavily reliant on the white creatures and this. So again, 2 creature light. Gonna stay away from that. 2 creature light. We're gonna move to blue here, which I also feel like is gonna be pretty creature light. Yeah, 3 creatures in this deck, which does not bode well to building a solid deck. I don't think we have too many creatures in this pile either. No, there's 1 creature in this pile. So again, feels way too creature light. My gut is telling me that we should go with Boros. So let's finish this up and build the Boros deck. Okay, I have moved all of the cards that we've discussed previously in kind of their stack. We got the 1, and then we move up in mana from there. We do have it all mixed up. There's not just creatures or anything like that. So we do have our instants and sorceries mixed in that we talked about. Now we just need to finish it up. First things first, you need a strong creature base, especially in Boros. You really care about creatures because that's where most of your damage is going to be coming from. So, creature count. Technically, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 creatures to start right now. And I am including those job select cards because they create a token on entry. So they're pretty much creatures in the eyes of building this deck right now. They are still non-creature spells, so let's keep that in mind. So if we cast, or if we use this Elder here, because it is technically in our colors, casting all of these equipments would trigger that 1 damage from the 0/1 Black Wizard. Just a word of thought. 2/1, 2 mana, 2/1. When it dies, create a 1/1 hero, so it's a nice blocker. What is another? Oh yeah, we have these Vilers and the Paladin Arms. I'm probably leaning towards putting these Paladin Arms in first, because these are 3 2s with Ward 1 for 3 mana. So there's a little bit of protection on them. And there's still 3 power. The only downside is the toughness. So this is very much a if you have to situation. And plus, I'd like to get a little bit higher end into the curve because we have a lot of 2 mana drops right now. And we need some bigger spells to really push on our opponents. Let's check out red again. We have another Samurai Sword that we can consider. We have 2 of these Elders, which might not be bad, but they're 1/3s for 3 mana. We are running fairly heavy on the non-creature spells. Because of all these job selects that we have here, we could see a pretty decent sub-game out of those 0/1 wizards. The only downside is these are 1/3, so these are not swinging creatures. They're just going to be block fodder, honestly. So these are a maybe if we can't fill out our creatures. We are up to 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are up to 9. So we need 7 more, right? 16? Yeah, that's the math. We need 7 more creatures, and I think we're gonna have to push in that direction. We put it in a katana here. 2/2 trample haste, which is fairly solid. So 3/3 2. I don't know. That's perfect. 3 mana, 3/3 trample and haste, so you can drop it and swing on the same turn. So definitely run the katana. Very good. We could run this castle guard because it's a 2 mana 2/1 and it replaces itself. So you have a double blocker for 2 mana essentially, which will take us up to 11. And I feel like we're just gonna have to run all of our creatures. Sabo Tender, and then we have Hill Gigas, which is going to be 6 mana at our top end, but it's mountain cycling, so it does have a little bit of benefit as well. We can, go for that mountain if we needed it. We have some very big high-end creatures that if we hit and get to could be very game changing, especially this one. We got some lifelink up here with Joshua and White Mage, trample haste with Gigas. I'm not too sure. And then our top end is going to be pretty stompy. Um, really, if you, oh no, technically this is a creature. I completely forgot about the Saga Knights. We do have one more creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We got 2 creatures left. I think we might as well just run. I think it's better to run these elders over these vilers just because we're running so many creature spells. When we cast these, we're for 3 mana, we're essentially getting 2 creatures, and we're getting additional ways on board to either block if we're in the behind stage to stop some serious damage, or to utilize the fact that we're running so many non-creature spells to get that additional damage across the board. Um, I think I'd run these over the snow vilers here, just for that reason alone. Um, yeah, just for that reason alone, honestly. Which then puts us to our removal package, or a non-creature spells, because we have a lot of creature non-creature spells, if that makes sense. So Thunder Magic and Coral Sword is going to be 3. Then we have Slash of Light and Haste Magic, which takes us up to 5, right? That it does. So we need to fill in 3 spells, which honestly I don't think is going to be too bad. I kind of like this Fate of the Sun Crystal here. Uh, 2 less damage to if it's targeting a tapped creature. So it's 3 mana instant removal, destroy target non-land permanent. But if you really, really needed to, you could blast a saga or an artifact for 5 mana. It's a little expensive, but I don't really see another way to destroy non-creatures in our arsenal. We have ways to destroy creatures, but we have no way of destroying non-creatures, which is not so great, in all honesty. Not so great. I would love to be able to run Excalibur, but we have no ways of consistently gaining life where I feel like this deserves a slot inside of the deck. We have some ways to gain life, but I don't feel like a consistent way of gaining life. So I'll probably leave that off to the side. I am leaning towards running our restoration magic to give things indestructible and hexproof if we need it, which is a great way to save things because we want to keep things out on board. I'm staying away from this inspiration here. I don't think it's worth it. I would love to have had hit a suplex in this situation, but we didn't. I think we have to run Fate Crystal here. As much as I don't like it, It's not stellar. 5 mana is pretty expensive, but 3 mana at instant speed, destroy tapped creature, so something attacks, you can at least remove it. It's not horrible in this situation because we don't really have a better option for removal. So one, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Is that 7? So we need one more, right? Right. I'm not running inspiration. I think we're just gonna run this 4 mana rescue mission because we can make some tokens if we need to, and if we're in the behind, we can slow our enemy down to give us another turn by tapping things out. Um, so a little bit control in that situation. You could make a bounce between the Light of Judgment here. Since we're playing pretty heavy equipment decks in a lot of situations with this job select, you mechanic inside of the set. 6 damage to target creature and destroy up to one target equipment to it would be pretty nice, so we can get something off the board if we have to. But you could also just swap that in for Fate of Crystal here. They're both at instant speed. You really just need to pick what you think it is, and you can just board in and out. The safer pick is probably going to be Fate main board, and situationally board in Light of Judgment. It is kind of what I would pick. Other than that, I'm not feeling too strongly about any of our equipments here. Instant Ramen is funny. 2 mana, you get to draw a card at flash speed, you gain some life, but I think I would rather run everything that we have over instant ramen, but never knock card draw if you need it. That's just a built-in way to run it right now. You got 2 of them, so it could be pretty useful. World map, if you're running multicolor decks, like 3 mana or 3 color plus here, I could see world map being far more useful. But I think we have enough fixing in our hand to really handle it. So we have 3 fixing lands essentially. And then we do have this bonus land, which allows us to return target and or artifact, or I'm sorry, target artifact and or enchantment from the graveyard. You can pick 2 of them for 5 mana, which is pretty solid. You can put those back into your hand. Other than that, I think that's the deck. I think this is what we're going to run for the pre-release if we were in this situation. Everything else felt very creature light. Looking through the rest of them, we would have been in a worse situation. We could have paired red and white with other colors, but even then, we were pushing ourselves to fill out this deck, and everything else had less options. So, 100% feeling very confident about this Boros strategy right here. We have enough in the 2 section where we can keep up constant, attackers and be aggressive when we need to. But our top end, if we make it to late game, handles the situation, especially if we hit Summon of the Night round. What? Summon Knights of Round. Ignore me. We're currently filming this at 1 in the morning, so I'm kind of frazzled. But yeah, this is the deck. If you see anything here, this is the second Summon Knights of Round that we hit inside of this box. So want 2 copies, be sure to head down to the link in the description and pick them up from Superscript's Comics and Games. Again, they let us open a box for stock, so big thank you to them. And with that, it is really, really late, so I'm going to hit the hay. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the stream. If you want to pick up any of the cards you just saw Aaron open, you can stop by Superscript Comics and Games, located in Lakewood, Ohio, or check us out online at superscriptohio.com. Take care.